Thank you so much, Brad. It's such a pleasure to meet you live. I'm like totally
My pleasure. Glad it worked.
I was wondering if you could tell me a little bit about, first of all, this fabulous house that you've bought for entrepreneurs to live in with Google Fibre. I am so jealous because I've got the worst broadband.
Yeah, so I bought a house about 3 or 4 months ago in Kansas City, where Kansas City was the first city that Google is rolling out Google Fibre to, which is 1 gigabit internet. And for perspective, 1 gigabit internet is somewhere between 20 and 100 times faster than what most people have in terms of broadband. And in some cases it's 1,000 times faster than what people have. So it's really remarkable in terms of the difference.
Wow.
And my motivation for doing this was just as an experiment. There were already a couple of houses that had become hacker houses in this neighborhood that was the first neighborhood that was lit up in Kansas City. So I bought a house right next door to them, and I decided to run a competition. So I have now announced the winners. They've moved in. It's a company called Handprint. And I've given the house rent-free, and I pay for the Google Fibre for a year, no strings attached, just to see what they come up with using 1 gigabit internet. Wow. And it's been fun, and part of it for me is my thesis around community development and startup communities, and not just talking about it. I'm actually very involved in a number of different startup communities, and I just wanted to be involved in this experiment with Google Fibre in the Kansas City startup community, and it's been a blast so far.
And I am so jealous because someone tells me that Google probably will never do it in the Bay Area, which of course is where they're based, and you would wonder why. But
yeah, there's a lot of speculation. About the motivations for it in general, and I have my own view of it. But it's been interesting to start to see the notion of gigabit internet roll out into other cities. Chattanooga, Tennessee built their own infrastructure for gigabit internet a number of years ago. The government had the foresight to put the infrastructure in place. So it's actually an example of a town that's lit up with it. In Orem, Utah, Provo, Utah just handed over their fiber to Google to deploy gigabit internet in Provo, and Austin, Texas just announced it'll be the second Google Fiber city, and the day after AT&T announced that they're bringing 1 gigabit internet to Austin. I think all of this is phenomenal because it sort of reminds me of the cliche back from the 1980s when somebody said, oh, nobody will ever need more than 64K of RAM in a computer. And when this started rolling out, people were like, well, nobody will ever need more than, whoever used 1 gigabit. And the answer is entrepreneurs, and we'll figure it out. There will be something interesting that will happen with it.
Yeah, it's fabulous.